Hi, nice to meet you.
Pleased to meet you. Welcome
Thanks
to
for having us. So, which way?
In the part of the UK where the stakes are arguably highest, Brexit is bringing new urgency to old questions.
Is it making the idea of a border poll more likely?
I don't think we would have been talking about a border poll for a long, long time if Brexit hadn't happened.
The spectre of Brexit is destabilising politics in Northern Ireland. More particularly, the prospect of exiting without a deal.
You close border roads, you put up infrastructure, you are saying to an entire population that Ireland has been repartitioned.
Could Brexit set in motion a fundamental shift which would see the union unravel?
If there's a no-deal Brexit, the conversation about Irish reunification in this society will be turbocharged.
The Shankill Road, where British identity is perhaps felt more deeply than anywhere else in the UK.
Demilitarisation happening in public, the IRA...
The Good Friday Agreement and the peace that followed...
This was perhaps the moment of the campaign.
...changed everything and nothing here.
I always described it that this is where we were before the Good Friday Agreement, and Protestants were here and Catholics were here, and the Good Friday Agreement brought the Catholics up the level, but Protestants never went nowhere else, and Catholics didn't go anywhere else after that.
Eileen Weir has come a long way. A member of the loyalist UDA in her youth, she became a trade unionist in Belfast's tobacco factories and now runs community projects with women from across the divide.
Through the work that's done here in Shankill Women's Centre, women can feel safe talking to each other.
Speculation on the renewed prospects of a united Ireland has been rife since the EU referendum. Eileen is sceptical that such a development would happen quickly or easily.
First of all, we need to get things sorted here in Northern Ireland. And there's a lot of things that need sorted out in the South of Ireland. So to get those two areas even sorted out within their own areas, become one, it'll take about 15 years for that to happen.
So you're not ruling it out?
I'm not ruling it out because it's within the Good Friday Agreement that we have the referendum for it. If it's to happen, it will be the people that will want it. And I'm only hoping it will be done on the economical and social issues rather than being done on an orange and green issue. And I think 15, 20 years' time, that will no longer be that case. That's my dream.
Northern Ireland has of course been central to the Brexit debate. The absence of a solution for the border, the very reason there is currently no deal.
So when English politicians say, you know, this is just scaremongering when people are talking about a return to the Troubles, what do you hear when they're saying that? What do you think?
I think they're profoundly wrong. I think you're hearing from people with a deep awareness of what the conflict was like in this society, who are signalling and putting out their alarm bells on a responsible basis to say they're very, very worried about the impact of a no-deal Brexit. They're not saying the peace process is going to break down overnight. They're not saying there's going to be immediate return to the sort of conflict in the past, but they're anxious and worried based on real live experience about what can happen to this society.
And nowhere is there more concern than in the traditionally nationalist border communities of South Armagh.
There was a very big turnout here today in Carrick-Arran. There were several hundred people because this community will be ripped apart by Brexit.
Damien McGinty is a farmer in the village of Jonesborough.
He's currently stockpiling drugs.
And a founding member of Border Communities Against Brexit. He, like many here, sees the much-debated backstop devised to prevent potential barriers between North and South and protect unionist red lines on being treated the same as the rest of the UK as a reasonable compromise.
Look, I absolutely want a deal. Like, no rational person would say they want a no deal just to justify havoc to lead on to what would become a united Ireland. We compromised to support the backstop. We could have said No,
Yeah.
we voted Remain.
That's a step too
You know,
far.
it's a step too far, but we did compromise.
So when you hear people saying like there has to be compromise from the Irish government and from the point of view where we need the hard, there's already been huge compromise to get to this point.
If you had a crystal ball, where do you think this is going?
I do feel that the backbone of this is economics. It's certainly not citizenship or indeed religion, because any normal thinking person from either side of the community would not be pro a hard border. I couldn't emphasise that anymore.
Carrickfergus, East Antrim, largely Protestant, loyalist, and the region of Northern Ireland with the largest number of Brexit voters. Reverend Heather Cook was one of them. Her attachment to the Union runs deep.
It goes to the heart of your cultural identity. It goes back to your childhood, what you were born into, what you've been used to, and what you have grown up with. And that is so deeply embedded within you that it is hard to go against that.
For many, perhaps most Unionists, the idea of a united Ireland remains unconscionable. But perhaps it's not now unthinkable.
It's not exactly what the Unionist community would want, but I think certain people are beginning to say, look, it's going to happen at some point.
Ben Lowry is the deputy editor of the world's oldest English-language daily paper. He, like other British loyalists we spoke to, harbours a nagging worry that in England they already see as apathetic towards the Union could abandon Northern Ireland amidst the complications over Brexit.
The really important thing to say that as Unionists in Northern Ireland, we're like a fly, we can be swatted away. We're just numerically insignificant. And we're lucky that that hasn't happened over the decades before. And I'm still just about confident that it won't happen. But it's a very big problem. And what I think that the Unionist way of combating this should be, instead of sounding truculent or demanding or like we're throwing our weight around, saying to the rest of the UK is, look, please don't forget about us. We are an intrinsic part of the nation. We're not trying to cause difficulty over the Irish land border, but this is potentially a huge difficulty for a part of the UK.
Back on the border, there's a different perspective, but a shared concern.
The border's just at the bottom of this field here.
So what is the biggest worry then?
Oh, there's no question it's the peace. Because if you don't have peace, you don't have all of the benefits that a normal society has, the economics, the job opportunities, the free movement. But you'd also say to a huge percentage of the population, people who are 35 and under, who never remember any soldiers, anything that went on during the Troubles, you will say to that population that this island has been repartitioned. And that's the really dangerous bit in all of this, and where dissident Republicans can go to get recruits from within communities. And that is absolutely the last thing that we need.
Whatever the background, peace, stability and the relative prosperity they've delivered is near the top of most people's priorities here. Damage to the Union from Brexit may come not from the old fault lines, however deep, but from a desire to secure a future that protects that peace.